Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dread, the Dreadly One, and in today's video we are talking about what DICE needs to do to make the LMGs in BF1 more viable, and we're going to be talking about mostly damage buffs. We're also going to be talking about recoil buffs, and for me, a buff is an increase to a stat, regardless of that being a positive or negative thing. So, let's get into it. And the two guns that I'm going to cover first are going to be the Madsen MG and the Bar. So for starters, the Bar needs to be pumping out a max of 33 with a minimum of 25. Range of that 33 damage needs to be 15, and then it needs to drop off 1 point of damage for every 1 meter traveled until it reaches its minimum of 25. The Madsen needs to be pumping out a max of 34, giving it a 3-shot kill up to 15 meters with a minimum of 25. The same effect applies, by the way, across the board. I'm not going to continue to repeat myself on the damage drop-off value. The MG15 in A needs to receive a buff of 34 max, 25 minimum. The range needs to be between 30 and 45 meters. I will leave that for DICE to decide. The Lewis gun and Barney Marseille need to have higher damage per shot than the rest of the weapons, coming in at a staggering 43 max, 28 minimum. The Hewitt needs to have a maximum damage of 43 and a minimum damage of 34. The Shosho needs to have a maximum damage up to 8 meters of 53. Forgive me, 52. Let's try that on my notes. After that, becoming a 2-shot kill only to the head.
We have taken objective Edward.
With a minimum damage model of 40. Now for the reason, the reasoning for the recoil and the changes that are coming, as well as the movement penalty that needs to be incurred, with a couple of key exceptions being the Bar, Madsen, and Hewitt, which will only receive half the penalty here. For all LMGs, a 10% penalty to weight needs to be applied. And this is given in your movement speed. So, you're walking around with an MG15 Storm, you're moving 10% slower than the people around you. Low weights will be cut in half, and suppressives will be dealt a 5% increase, meaning 15%.
We have lost objective Charlie.
You're moving 15% slower, is what I'm getting at there. Now for your hip fire and ADS accuracy when you're not deployed on your bipods. There will be a couple of key exceptions here, but the recoil mechanic for bipod fire is a little on the wonky side. It gets more accurate as you hold the trigger. Mechanic still applies, and that needs to be removed when bipods are deployed. The random shot deviation is just something that doesn't need to happen. So, DICE needs to work around that. The standing, crouched ADS spread needs to be multiplied standing by 10%, crouched by 5. Key exceptions for this go to the storm variants of weapons, which will not receive an additional penalty. They will remain the same as are. Hip fire will need to be increased. The shot cone will need to be increased by 15% while standing, and the crouching hip fire will need to be increased by 10. Key exceptions here are trench variants, which will not receive this penalty. Lightweight variants, while deployed on bipods, will now receive a first shot recoil penalty while deployed on bipods. They will still recover from recoil just as they have, but now they will be more viable for tap firing when not deployed in bipods because of the increased damage model. The last but not least patch which should happen is an increase in standing fire and crouching fire penalties for suppression. And what I mean by that, and I phrase it very, very poorly here, suppression needs to be increased for MGs, not decreased. I've been hit plenty of times by quickscopers who were supposed to be suppressed. The range on the suppression needs to be increased. As compared, the weapons are a much larger threat than what they were. And by increasing this, you make the MGs a far more valuable weapon. And as I said, I will be creating a secondary video to follow this up, explaining why I feel these patches should happen for the support class. Thank you all very much for watching this extended video. My name is Dread, the Dreadly One, and I will catch you in my very next video.